Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. This is the first live stream that we've been able to do since the fiasco with having the primary channel taken down by YouTube for no reason. We don't violate community guidelines, we remain within them. And we're battling to get that back up. Right now, we're nowhere close to the subscribership that we had on the other channel. We're definitely not anywhere close to getting the support that we had, and we're hoping that people will eventually funnel over here. And the ultimate goal is to get the original channel back up and running. But until then, we will not lie down. We're also working to create alternatives. We tried and we're working with Black Junction TV, but obviously there's more cost involved in actually getting up. I had a lot of stuff up on Black Junction, but it was actually linked to the other account. So when the count went down, all of those videos came down as well. And to get anything up over a couple of costs. It's a pro membership. I haven't even checked into what it was, but that's just some of the things that are going on. Again, we're using a different streaming mechanism, so I'm not even sure how this is turning out. But hopefully you guys can see me well. Unfortunately, I can't see you. I can't read your comments. I don't even know if anybody's on right now because we don't have a whole lot of subscribers to begin with. But I did see that Erlene subscribed earlier today, so we're definitely going to get you back on as a moderator ASAP. As soon as I can get all this figured out, I'm going to get you on. But in the meantime, I just want to talk to you about something that's going on. Everybody's weighing in on the Kaepernick thing. I've weighed in on the Kaepernick issue specifically, but what I want to talk about now is this whole thing with Stephen A. Smith. And it doesn't start or end with Stephen A. Smith. Let's get that clear. I want to talk about that. It is important that I do this, especially now with so much exposure and reach negatively impacted by the channel going down. Obviously, that's showing up in a lot of different ways. That's not necessarily a good thing. We need your support. That hasn't stopped. We're working hard. Marion was out this weekend with girls. They went to a camp and spent some time out. So we're really pushing and working and doing everything that we can on our end, not just with our kids, but with families, teaching financial literacy, teaching financial responsibility, trying to re-socialize older Black men, properly socializing young Black males through the Black Men Lead Rite of Passage program. It is of the most essence that we continue to get support. We really need increased support. So every video is going to have a paragraph at the top of the description box that tells you how you can support the work that we're doing. We need your support. Got that out of the way. All right. So everybody has an opinion about what went on with Colin Kaepernick and that workout that did or did not take place on this past Saturday, depending on what resource you're giving gravity and validity to. I've already weighed in on that, and for a disclaimer, I'm going to come and speak on it again. I've done a written disclaimer. I'm going to do a video disclaimer now. I'm not a big fan of Cap where he is right now. I'm not standing and acting actively as an enemy because my energy is better used in empowering people than going after and attacking, but I will speak truth to power whenever it is necessary and required. For those who are wondering why I am not, quote unquote, riding the Cap bandwagon any longer. Now, when he first made the stand, riding with him because I understand, even though San Francisco's been my team since the Dwight Clark catch in the back of the end zone. 80s. How long I've been writing them since high school. And so, uh, he was on a team that, I identify with. So obviously I'm aware of what's going on because I'm watching it. But I'm with him. I'm with him when he's sitting. I'm with him when he's kneeling. I'm with him when he decides to opt out of his contract. I'm with him, the first year that they're blackballing him. I know what's going on. I'm not stupid. I'm aware of what, how the game is played. Highly familiar with it. Um, where Cap lost me is in how quiet he got after his big Nike contract. There's no other way to explain it to me is that his silence was bought. Is that okay? We got you now. We're going to give you, you're going to be paid, but we need you to kind of be chill. We're going to work some things out. We're going to do blah blah blah, whatever it was. But it was obvious and it's understood. Another reason is that there were these pictures where he's hanging out with DeRay McKesson, and anybody who's followed that and his role in the BLM and all that, that put a bad taste in my mouth. The bottom line is everything is about commodification in a capitalist world. When you're talking about true capitalism, it's commodification. One of the biggest things and one of the biggest problems is that any and everything can be commodified. The black man has been commodified. If the black man doesn't have a job making so much money, he's not respected or held in regard by black women or by anyone else. Everybody's measured by what they bring to the table by way of money. Everybody is convinced and moved by money. The music industry has been commodified. Character and integrity in the music industry has been commodified. It's no longer about standing up for anything. It's about how much will you pay me to do it. I'll do it, but how much will you pay me? If you pay me, in other words, the question of the day in doing business now is what will it cost me? And if they have the money, it'll get done. It's not about moral turpitude. It's not about standing up for what's right. It's not about speaking truth to power. It's about, well, do you have enough money to pay for what it is you're wanting? No matter how bad it is, do you have the money? It's a commodification. And that's where we're at with cats like Stephen A. Smith. You see, you can't expect him to stand up and say, okay, I may not totally agree with everything that Colin Kaepernick did, but I'm not going to be the person that's going to go all out and attack him. That's what they want. They want these propped up black people to actually speak the discord of racism, or the discord of those who practice racism, so that they don't have to. And then they're bringing along someone like Max Kellerman or Nick Wright who will speak to the truth of the matter and bring some type of balance to the point where we're sitting up thinking, okay, maybe everybody's not racist, and no, everybody doesn't have the bigoted mind. But it's hard to find white people who aren't benefiting from racism willing to give up their privilege. And those willing to give up their privilege, it just simply isn't. But I'm looking more at Stephen A. Smith and those like him. Stephen went in. He took, and then when he got called on his BS for attacking Colin Kaepernick, when he got called on his BS for being inaccurate in his assessment, he doubled down. And everybody's going like, why is he so invested? Let me tell you why he's invested. He's commodified. He's commodified his existence. Everything is about money. And we know this because this isn't the first time that we've seen Stephen A. Smith in a situation where he could have took stern high ground and folded, and or took an approach that some people will call, I don't use the C word. I just hate that word in referring to another black person, even though I know there are a bunch of people out there that definition applies to. Just selling out. I can say that. Just totally selling out. Well, when Stephen A. has never been held in check when he's calling out a black person. He can go hard. He done went hard in the paint on a bunch of athletes from AI on down, and nothing. He can say whatever he wants to about the black community. He can call us out and do all that, and ESPN gives him total license. Nothing. That was maybe about a year and a half ago. He said something that had to do with the effect of something that upset a white woman, and he was suspended. And he came back and he apologized. And that was the end of that. Whenever he's been called out for the same type of result where he's upset someone, um, he his response is, "I don't care. I said what I said." And people are wondering why. Well, Stephen A. Smith just signed a record-breaking deal with ESPN. I think it's a 5-year deal for $8 million a year. So that's a $40 million contract. Stephen A. is going to do what pleases the people who put the food on his table. He has commodified his existence, and those who are able to support that commodification are the ones that's going to be able to dictate his palate. And it's just, it happened right on the heels of the contract that he comes out and does this thing where he um, goes after Colin Kaepernick. The thing is, Colin Kaepernick did what he needed to do under the circumstances. I'm not going to get into the details, but he was more than justified. He was being set up. It was a Trojan horse that was setting him up. They were going to basically clip his legal legs as far as the damage that he could do via lawsuit based on what they were doing in blackballing him. And his attorneys caught it. He saw it. And basically, that was the whole setup. We're going to say, we're going to give you an opportunity, which really was an opportunity. We're going to do it completely different than we've ever done it for any other athlete. We're going to give you little time to prepare for it. We're going to do it on a day that we've never done it on before, a day that no head coaches or assistant head coaches or major players can be there, because it's the day before a game and everybody's traveling. So are already in the cities where they're playing and they can't be there. We're going to give you a waiver the day before that you need to sign. That isn't the normal injury protection waiver. It's a waiver that also makes sure that you can't ever come and sue us again for not giving you a chance. And all of this stuff, and he refused to do it. And on top of that, we're not going to allow any media, any cameras outside of our own. We're going to film it and we're going to distribute the film. So basically what you're saying is, we're going to basically give you 4 days to prepare. You said, okay, cool, I got that because I stay prepared. I've been working out since I left the league. I'm ready. And we're going to bring you to a place where nobody's going to show up. I'm going to show up and just trust whoever wants to be there will be there. And you did. But then they give you a waiver that says, we're basically asking you to relieve us of any legal liability to actually treat you the way you deserve to be treated as a professional athlete. And a former member of this league. And he says no. He goes and he says, number one is, if you got control of the film, you can put the most, in other words, they can edit out all of the good stuff, only present the bad stuff and say, okay, this is why he can't have a chance. He's horrible. But what happened is he sets up his own workout. He goes, he kills it by all accounts. Everybody that I've called that I know, that I trust their opinion because they've been a part of this league in one way or another, says he killed it. Everybody. So, and then the accounts that I've read from people I respect say he killed it. He came and showed up and showed at least 5 days a week for 3 years. I've been training and ready. I'm ready to play tomorrow if you give me a shot. He proved that he's better than at least 10 of the quarterbacks that start in the league now, and he's better than all of the backups. Again, he didn't ask for a starting position. He says he just wants a chance to be on a team and prove himself and be ready to play. Well, he's worthy of that. He proved that. His workout was exceptional. So what's the problem? The problem is the NFL didn't get what they wanted. And one of the first people they rush out to go speak up on their behalf so that it takes the edge off because they're a blackface is Stephen A. Smith. It was a couple of other people. Same thing that happened with the Myles Garrett, the Rudolph cat, the backup quarterback for Pittsburgh. Everybody, all the black faces immediately jumped on him. Hey, he needs to be out for indefinitely. He needs to be suspended into next year. He needs to be all this. Nobody's talking about anything that the Rudolph cat done come out. Dudes and punched him in the balls, punched him and kicked him in the balls, and was the first one to go for the helmet. Instigated the entire process, played the victim just like white boys always do. Throw the punch and then turn around and hide. My thing is, everybody needs to be held accountable. But you've got to take into consideration what this guy did to this guy, and it has to be taken into. Now the NFL has come back because it's been made obvious. That's the beautiful thing about video footage now, and the fact that everybody has access to it and can save it and download it, and so it can't be hidden and edited, is that now they have to hold him accountable. So at this point, I don't know if he's been suspended, but I know he was fined $35,000. But he needs to be suspended, and they need to reduce the suspension of Garrett. I don't have a problem with suspension. The rules is if you fight on the field, you get suspended. You get suspended, you get fined. Period. Okay, I get that. But you got to let a man be a man. A man has to be able to stand up and defend himself and protect himself and send a message that if you do certain things to me, it comes with an ass whipping. I think that's something that we've got to do as far as our women. I think that that's a part of the problem now, is that we don't have this mindset as black men that we are going to send a message to the rest of the world that we're not here to start anything. But if you put your hand on our women, children, or elderly, it comes with a minimum of an ass whipping, and a whole lot more depending on the depth and the extent of the violation. We're not going to accept being brutalized. We're not going to accept being mishandled. We're not going to accept being mistreated. We're going to stand up and defend ourselves. We're going to stand up and defend our women. So you decide how you want us to handle you, because we're telling you that we're not going to stand by. A man has to have a willingness to defend himself and those that he has been given charge to protect. It's that simple. But they want to make us complacent, compliant, and docile. And they will use whatever means they can. And because the NFL is a part of this entertainment sector, through which is the primary means by which black people acquire riches, there's this belief with black men that we've got to kowtow to whatever the demands of the industry are, and not realizing that you are the one bringing the value to the table. And anytime you're bringing the value to the table, you have the goal. Something that my mentor taught me over 30 years ago. Say, son, you don't have to play by their rules if you've got the goal. You don't like wearing suits and ties, and you want to wear your earrings, you got tattoos, and but yet you say you want to be a businessman. I actually, and this was a straight-nosed, and he wasn't black, straight-nosed businessman. He said, I admire that about you. He says, well, here's the thing. You don't have to play by their rules if you have the goal. He who has the gold makes the rules. When you got something they want, and you got it in the way that they want it, and nobody can do it like you do it, you got the goal. You set the standard. You set the means about how you operate. I show up at speaking engagements with a cap and a hoodie or a t-shirt. Every now and then a button up. And nobody asks. Nobody's like, whatever. And I know when it's time to go formal. I know when there's a formal attire, and I need to clean up, and I clean up well. But I am going to be me. I'm not going to allow someone else to define what's classy, what's professional, what's acceptable. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be me, but I'm going to deliver. And NFL, 75% of the players that are delivering the highest level of quality, skill, and performance are black. You have the gold. We need to start thinking about that. We need to start talking about ownership. We need to start talking about creating our own league. We need to start talking about actually capitalizing on our value in ways that they've been capitalizing on our value for decades now. And that's a part of it. But they're going to send out Stephen A. Smiths. They're going to come out and ridicule, attack, and malign blacks that dare to stand up and move at the beat of their own drum, stand up on their beliefs, stand up for what they believe in, and more. And it's up to us to put those cowards in check. And he's coming back screaming and shouting, trying to do everything he can to justify it. He needs to stay in check. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is we have to be careful about how we tend to give so much validity to black faces in high places. We need to understand that most of them have been placed in position there and have been commodified, and that commodification is being funded by the very racist system that we say we are trying to tear down. And we have to be aware of that. We have to be aware. We want to check patterns of behavior. We want to check how people stand in the midst of adversity. See, it's easy to talk about some things when it's no adversity or no resistance to it. But when something is really hot and it's contested and there are two sides and you got to choose one, who are these? What sides are these guys choosing? Because I'm going to stand on the side of what's going to be best for me and my people. And sometimes that has proven for me not to be necessarily what's best for me. And that's and I understand that, I could be doing so much more, so much better. I have been. Well, back in when it was just about me, I didn't have half the problems I have now. Revenue was flowing a lot more freely. But the only thing that was helping was me in my pocket. Now, if you're about to grab, if you're only about the bag, then do your thing. But and that's what I'm saying. Stephen A, if you're about the bag, that's cool. Be about the bag, but be careful. Because when you're about the bag and you're stepping over in my lawn, I'm gonna light your ass up. Because your bag doesn't do anything for me. See, I'm about me. I want to secure the bag, but I'm also worried about my people. I will not secure the bag at the expense of my people. I'm gonna go get the bag, but I'm gonna get the bag without tearing down my people, without maligning my people, without pointing the finger of blame at my people, without honoring the plight of my people. I'm gonna go get the bag, and it's harder to get the bag that way because the truth of the matter is most people are getting the bag by exploiting my people. We don't want to talk about that. That's another reason why we got to come together. That's another reason why we got to stand together. That's another reason why we have to reevaluate our spending habits, where we're placing our money, because there's this belief that we don't have the ability to empower ourselves. And yes, we do. Do we own a huge percentage of the wealth of this nation? Absolutely not. We own a very small percentage, but we own enough money coming through our hands that if we redirected that in the right direction, we can multiply it. We can grow it. We can generate and build and create wealth. See, there's this idea that there's this limited amount of wealth. Abundance is a part of the universal process. It's abundant, but you can't do it sitting in someone else's system, begging them to give you a seat at the table. You got to go out and create your own system. You got to go out and establish and generate and create wealth. You can build wealth, but you have to change your spending habits. You have to change your thinking. You've got to get behind the programs that will work. You've got to change who we are. We need entirely different protocols. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to figure out, the way to use this system to keep us going. But it's immensely important that we stay on top of our game. But I just had to deal with this Stephen A. Smith thing. Uh, and I'm going to leave it at that. Don't forget, we definitely need your support. Click the link or give through the Cash App account, but we definitely need your support. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.